Parshas Tisa discusses the tremendous Chet HaEgel, sin of the golden calf, and question on the whole story. Many questions on the whole story, but one of the questions is that Moshe Rabbeinu is standing on Har Sinai. He's speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Hashem tells him, "Go down, Lech Raid, go down because Bnei Yisrael did something very bad." And Moshe goes down with the luchos. He sees what happens, and he breaks the luchos. And the question is, why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu already break the luchos when he heard what happened? What changed between the time that he heard from Hashem that Bnei Yisrael did such a grave chet to when he got a little lower and he actually saw them, and all of a sudden now he breaks the luchos? The Gemara says in Maseches Yevamos and Daf Samach Beis that this is one of three things that Moshe Rabbeinu initiated on his own to break the luchos, and Hashem was maskim. He agreed with what he did. Yasher kochacha asher shibarta. It was good what you did, that you broke the luchos. So in Hashem's mind, it was correct. Okay, so then why didn't he do it before? What changed? So one answer, we've quoted this before, the Maharsha and the Gemara in Yevamos over there, quotes in the Sefer HaIkrim. The Sefer HaIkrim says that even though Moshe heard from Hashem what happened, but when he saw it with his own eyes, he saw what Bnei Yisrael did, that had a bigger effect. It made him feel the gravity of what Bnei Yisrael did, and that triggered him to go ahead and break the luchos. Rav Moshe Feinstein has a tshuva about doing Bikur Cholim on the telephone. What's better, to visit sick people on the phone, or that you have to go in person? And over there he quotes the Sefer HaIkrim. He doesn't like it so much. He says, really? He says, Moshe Rabbeinu heard from Hashem. Was there any level more of knowledge, of clear vision that was required, that he didn't break the luchos at that point? So he offers some other answers, but we see from the Sefer HaIkrim, yes, even Moshe Rabbeinu talking to Hashem, you could hear something and you could know it. But when you see it, our vision, our eyesight, what we look at, and how we experience things when we see things, has a different level and effect on us. And obviously it's a big Musar Haskel of where we put our eyes and what we're looking at and what we're experiencing. We can never forget that seeing and experiencing something has a much bigger effect on us, even if we already know it. That's the answer to the Sefer HaIkrim. Answer number two, Rav Moshe mentions this in passing as well, is that Moshe could have broken it right away, because he knew what happened. But he wanted to show Bnei Yisrael how bad their actions were, and if they would see him breaking the luchos, that would cause them to, look what we did something so terrible. He broke the luchos. And that would cause them, would trigger them and motivate them to do tshuva. And in fact, in Parshas Eikev, in Parak Tes, Pasuk Tes Zayin, in Sefer Dvarim, the Torah says, "Va'ira v'hinei chatasem l'Hashem Elokeichem." You were chotei to God. Asisem lechem egel masecha. You made an egel. And the Pasuk says that he went ahead. V'espos b'shnei luchos v'ashlichem. Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luchos, malshte yadai v'ashaberim le'einechem. I broke it in front of your eyes. The Torah stresses that it was in front of their eyes because Moshe was trying to affect them to create a change. And what's more striking is the last pasuk in the entire Torah. Like this is like the pinnacle, the end. V'lo kam Moshe. There was no greater Navi ever like Moshe Rabbeinu. And the pasuk explains what happens. He made all these nisim. All the amazing, incredible things. The last words of the entire Torah. All the amazing things that Moshe Rabbeinu did. Kriyas Yamsuf, the Makos, took them through the Midbar. Le'inei kol Yisrael. In front of the eyes of Bnei Yisrael. What's that referring to? Says Rashi, that he broke the luchos in front of their eyes. Meaning, there was something very specific about going ahead and doing it in front of them in order to try to get Bnei Yisrael to wake up, do tshuva, Don't just sit there and look at the life experiences, things that are happening around us and say, oh no, we'll get through it. Yes, we have to get through it, but we also have to wake up and see this is happening, that's happening. It's a sign. There's something going on over here. I have to change my ways. The third answer, also mentioned by Rav Moshe, is in the Sforno, in this week's parsha, and the Sforno says as follows. What changed? What was the difference between Moshe knowing that Bnei Yisrael did the Chet Egel and him getting lower and seeing it? Is that he saw something and Hashem didn't tell him. Hashem said the Bnei Yisrael did a terrible thing. Okay, terrible thing. People could do bad things and to do tshuva. I don't have to break the luchos for that. But when he descended the mountain and he saw that Bnei Yisrael were dancing, they were mecholos, they were dancing around the Egel. They were celebrating the terrible thing they did. Then Moshe said, whoa, that's a different level. People could do things that are wrong. They could make mistakes. They could veer off the path sometimes. But when you celebrate what you're doing, that means it's like in you. It's part of you. This is where you're at. The tshuva from something like that is way, way beyond. And that Moshe said, we can't have the luchos. And he went ahead and he broke it. The way a person parties shows what and who he really is inside. What do we get excited about? What type of joke? Where do we run to go on a Motzei Shabbos, on a late Thursday night, when we have some time, when there's no structure in yeshiva? Where are we going? What are we running towards? Those actions and those destinations are reflective of who we really are inside. We could be doing what we're supposed to be doing all the time, but then we get all excited about something else, and we're not so excited about what we're doing, then it shows that's where we really are. The pasuk says in the Megillas Esther, we're all preparing ourselves now for Purim, Be'ez Hashem. Very exciting 3 days. All of us who are zocha to live in Yerushalayim. Can't forget, it's a tremendous, tremendous chus to be able to be learning here in Yerushalayim. We get to have a lot of things, Baruch Hashem, because we live here. But one of the extra bonuses is we get a 3-day Purim this year. 3 days of tremendous potential for Kedusha. Thursday night, Friday, Shabbos in Yeshiva, mandatory in, Motzei Shabbos, Sunday, the Suda. It's like no end of Kedusha and growth. An amazing opportunity. We can't roll into Thursday night. We have to prepare. We have to think about what we're going to try to reap from these 3 incredible potential-filled days. So the pasuk says in the beginning of the Megillah, really this is the turning point before the crisis. The pasuk says, "Bayom hashvi'i kitov leiv hamelech bayayin." There was already 180 days of a party, and then another party, 7 days, and it was on the 7th day after the 180 days. That's a lot of partying. Kitov leiv hamelech bayayin, and Achashverosh's heart was full of wine. So that's when the Eitzah of bringing Vashti to the party, which really was setting up the entire salvation already then. We got to get rid of Vashti now, so that the whole thing can work out. Already at that point. And the Gemara asks in Maseches Megillah, and Daf Yud Beis and Beis, the Gemara says what? Like until that point, Achashverosh wasn't full of wine? We're talking about 180 plus 7. That's a lot of, and there was a lot of wine every single one of those days. So what does it mean? That it wasn't Kitov Leiv HaMelech Bayayin. So the Gemara says, no. Actually, that day was Shabbos. When it says Bayom HaShvi, it's referring to Saturday. It was Shabbos. Kitov Leiv HaMelech Bayayin, that the Jewish people, when they drink wine, they sing Zmiros, and they praise Hashem, as opposed to other people, other nations, when they party, it's all about disgusting things and terrible behaviors and saying not nice things and ruining things and inappropriate parties. So the Vilna Gaon, in his Parish on Megillas Esther, something that everyone should be learning cover to cover, he asks, he says, what's the shock of the Torah of this Gemara? The Gemara is asking a question. Achashverosh, what? You didn't have 187 days of full of wine? And the Gemara says, no, it was Shabbos, and the wine of the Jews versus the wine of the non-Jews. That's not what the Megillah is saying over here. So the Gemara says as follows. He says, the Medrash says, that every time it says Hamelech in the Megillah, it's referring to Hashem. You actually have to, and you learn the Gemara, you'll see how it works. You have to go through the entire Megillah, seeing a whole other story besides the Art Scroll translation in English. Much deeper and extremely inspirational, transformative, and impactful to those who learn it. What's going on over here is as follows. Bayom HaShvi, on the seventh day, Ketov Leiv HaMelech Bayayin, Hashem's heart was full of wine. Says the Gemara, what? Ada Idna, until this point, Hashem isn't full of wine. What does it mean, Hashem full of wine? Doesn't make any sense. Hashem can't be full of wine. Doesn't make sense. So the Gemara says you have to make a comma before the word yayin. Bayom HaShvi, the day was Shabbos, Ketov Leiv HaMelech, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in a whole different level of goodness. It's Shabbos. Shabbos, such a special day. It's amazing. Why? What's so special? What's one of the things that makes Shabbos so unique, that brings Hashem to a whole different level? Because if you look at the yayin, if you look at the way that the yayin is drunk, is celebrated on Shabbos, there's a fundamental difference between the Shabbos yayin and other nations partying with their wine. That Bnei Yisrael, when they celebrate Shabbos, it elevates them. And it goes ahead and allows them to connect and recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu on a whole different plane. Other people, they use it just to waste time, frivolous behavior, destructive behavior, hangovers, all these terrible things that just ruin a person. Take a person from being a human being, drags him into being an animal. And it was in that schus, that Bnei Yisrael, that at the end of the day, when they party in a way that brings them closer to Hashem. That was one of the events and the mindsets that allowed HaKadosh Baruch Hu to say, Bnei Yisrael are different, and I'm going to treat them differently, and the whole salvation started from that point. Where do we put our excitement? How do we celebrate? How do we dance? What music do we listen to? What music do we dance and sing? What type of actions do we exhibit when we're having a party? Is it one that shows, I want to get close to Hashem. I want to experience Hashem. I want to think about my life, how I could become better, and I could grow more and become more spiritual and more for Klal Yisrael and more for my family, and I could achieve more and set my bar higher. Is that what I'm doing when I'm partying? So then, that shows, I'm not there yet maybe, but it shows that, wow, look where this person is. Look what he gets excited about. He gets excited about a Dvar Torah. Unbelievable. My daughters have these cameras that you can't buy anymore. So they take videos sometimes on Purim. And they showed me some videos from many years ago of Mamish, one of the guys in Yeshiva, crying, that all he wants to do is learn more Torah. It was an amazing thing. That's what you see. That's where you are. That's what you cry about. That's what you're excited about. That's where you're going to put your emotions and your energies. Gavaldik. Amazing. Beautiful. What a Kiddush Hashem. That's what you're excited about. But if someone's dancing for narishkeit, because someone decided that, there's a minhag to get dressed, so we're going to have costume parties, and we're going to dance on the streets, and drink galore, and all these terrible things that happen, and that's where I'm excited to go to. I want to go to those streets. I want to go ahead and experience what's happening there. I want to take the pictures. I want to see those things. Well, unfortunately, that shows that that's where we are. And any growth that we have, or other exhibitions of greatness that we sometimes display, that's not who we really are. Because we're getting excited about other stuff. We're partying about other things. 3 days of tremendous potential of Kedusha. And as I've mentioned before, from the Maral and others, whenever there's a potential for Kedusha, there's that same level of potential for Tumah. And that's how you could have literally, not that far away, the highest levels of Tumah. during the next weekend. Because people who don't understand and they haven't had the schus to be able to learn in yeshiva and to be able to experience what real Torah Jew is about and how we're supposed to behave, so they're able to take somehow that energy of the day to the opposite direction. And if chas v'shalom, anyone in our yeshiva would gravitate to want to go there or see it or like just experience it, so unfortunately that was the chait. That was the chait of the Egel, where Moshe Rabbeinu said, if that's how you're partying, if that's what you're looking at, you got to break the luchos. Because to turn away from that and come back from that is extremely, extremely, extremely difficult. So as we're preparing, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, getting ready for Purim, 3 days, and we have to try to maximize all of the Kedusha that's out there for us to really be able to grow and to be able to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kitov Lev HaMelech, what it means. How we celebrate, what we celebrate, why we celebrate, the importance of learning Torah on Purim, the importance of our davening on Purim, the importance of the mitzvahs hayom to be done in the best possible way. Hidur Rav, in the greatest possible way. Bezrat Hashem, we're going to make a Kiddush Hashem. We're going to be able to enlighten all the people around us that don't know what it really is about. Bezrat Hashem, bring them together with us to dance and party with us, to be able to hit the heights they're all meant to achieve, and we should have a Shavua Tov and a great Hachana towards Purim.